Hello people, this is Ryder here with a review of the Kamen Rider Saber DX Ride Book Hondana. So as opposed to the original set we took a look at, it's the same thing, it's just shorter because it doesn't have to contain a Wonder Ride book. Because as you literally compare the boxes, there, for some reason, the inclusion of a Wonder Ride book made it longer. But this is basically the same content as the last set. It's just that you just get extra shelves and such. So here we get Saber, Blades, and Espada. Here we have the Wonder Ride books. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be Alangina, but this is too orange to be Alangina. But I mean, I think it was this shelf is comprised of books we don't know about. I mean, some of these might be repeats, honestly, but this just basically is the same thing as the last set, just without the Wonder Ride book. And this one is my only sealed one, so let's open it up. Alright, so here it is partially out of the package. Basically, each half is split into two bags. So, you just simply pull the pieces out like so. I think it's been 2 years since almost 2 years. I want to say it's 1.5 years since I got this last one. But I didn't feel like doing this off camera, so I apologize for this portion of the video. But I didn't feel like breaking down one of my previous ones because I've already done that constantly. So basically, here we are with the pieces split into two for the most part. So we only take a look at one set of these pieces. So I believe this is weird feeling, but this is the right side of the Hondana, to which it does say Hondana, and obviously it's hollowed out on the side. And here's the left side. Basically, you need to kind of tell which side is what, because basically the top is with the open ends, and the left is the one with this open gap on the right. The right is with the left opened up and such. And then this is the back piece of the Hondana and such. So I'll say it's a nice like gray plastic and such. And these are the inner parts. So this is the bottom of the Hondana. As you can see, you have 3 buttons here, like so. And then you got a slot. You're going to be able to tell this is the bottom because it has the holes and the copyright trans stamp. This is the top. It doesn't have as much exciting things, but you want it to be like this because of how it's going to clip in and such, especially with these connection pieces. Last but not least, this is the clip-on top piece, to which you want to make sure the curve is on the back and not the front because of these 5 holes. So speaking of all that, to make a Hondana, you are going to simply slot these points into these square holes like so, and then you're going to see a square gap in to which you're going to either slide this forward or slide this back. I prefer just to slide this back, to which then you're going to do that with, you're going to do the same thing with this piece. And now you want to work on the top. So you want to make sure this is the right way. You don't want these pointed out, you want them pointing back, because you want to slot these in these open gaps like so, and then do the same thing of pushing this section in to fill in the square gaps like so. So at this point now, it's really solid, to which you want to end this off by putting the back in. So you want to make sure these are pointing down. Slot them into this gap like so. And this is kind of tricky, but you have to push this down, but there's not really a good place to push it down, so just probably grab it from the hole here and just like press your thumb here, so then you can actually like slot that down. And again, last but not least, you're going to take the top piece, you are going to align these pegs into these holes, make sure the curve is at facing the back, and then simply press this down like so. And there you have built your Ride Book Hondana, to which I will say it's a really fun experience. Like I will say, like, this one's a lot more fun to put together than the Ride Watch dies, because the Ride Watch dies you have to like constantly chain them together and such, and like it just kind of wasn't fun. Like they stuck together well, but like, you know, like this one's a bit more complicated, but I feel like because of that, it's just a lot more fun to like do, like just to put that together. And I guess to just show, you don't need to do that in the order I demonstrated to you. You can literally just do it at any order you're comfortable with. So well, you can't put this on because you need to put the back. You obviously need to put the back in, but like obviously you can, like, you have to do like you have to do some of these in order, but just make sure that you can actually like put them in without having to dismantle the entire thing. But yeah, because I'm pretty sure these are the second ones that you have to build together completely, to which I like the process. It's really fun, and for the most part you're not really going to be able to like mistakenly misplace pieces or like mistakenly put pieces in the wrong places, because it's really clear and such. Like obviously the orientation might be like, you can mess up the orientation, but like it's an easy fix. But overall, I do like the Ride Watch Hondanas. I really like the designs for them. Again, I like the simplistic color scheme they went for them. Obviously you want to try to make sure this is aligned and such. But other than that, they're just hunks of plastic for the most part that you can either just slide in like so, slide them together like so, or you can clip them together, but it's basically the same purpose. You can stack them like so via the pin or the pegs at the top, and then, you know, just have it like so. I'm pretty sure this is the default look of them. This is how they were portrayed in the show. It's just, you know, I'm more used to just having it horizontal and such. So obviously, we got to demonstrate Wonder Ride books in this, so obviously I just grabbed the entirety of Saber's library, and then obviously we will use the 01 Wonder Ride book because we avoided that in the last review. So we'll go through I'll be honest and say the most pointless option, to which is just using one Wonder Ride book. I get why they give you this option. I don't... It's smart, but... like, so basically, you can display only up to... So you can display up to one Wonder Ride book by simply sliding the Wonder Ride book into the square section, and then, like, having it just sit there by friction. Basically, what's going to help it... Basically, it's this button that's going to help hold it in and such, and it will actually press the button in such, which is pretty interesting, which is why I pulled out these ones specifically, because I pulled out the taps for them. I didn't want to pull out any random one. And then you can do the same with that. The biggest issue, like, this is cool overall. Like, I think if you don't have much Wonder Ride books and you just want to utilize the space, this definitely is a display option. The biggest issue is it's not sturdy because there's nothing clipping at the top. Like, I understand that they can't do that because it will conflict with the design, but like, just just having a clip here would have made it a lot more secure. The second option, and the one that you would honestly use, is storing up to 3 Wonder Ride books. So obviously, you simply just want to slot it in like so, and then make sure this button actually hits the button of the Wonder Ride book. If it actually wants to go in, because some of these are really stubborn. So that's pretty neat overall. Like, basically each book you put in, it will activate it. And then so that's really cool, and like, again, it makes it a lot heftier and such, and it's really neat. Again, the only issue... Oh, okay, this one's actually pretty good. Okay, so this one's actually pretty sturdy for the most part. Obviously not, I get, because sometimes you don't want to hear the sounds, but sometimes if you put it in fast enough, the button won't read it. It won't hit it. So, but like, for the most part, this is how it should be. The Wonder Ride book shouldn't be coming out violently. And then, obviously, you can just do it with the one. I don't know why none of these are working. I mean, this is a new one, so that's not supposed to happen. But, wow, this one might be the best one I've had. This one's really tight. It's not supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be... Yeah, okay, this one might be too tight. Because basically what's supposed to happen is that it's supposed to activate it again when you take it out. To which, the reason why these holes are here, so then you can actually pull them out. But, you know, like, obviously if you have the one, then you don't need it. But obviously, that's not the fun of it, though, because obviously if you take our previous one, you can obviously start stacking these things, and I'll just do this display again. You can start stacking these things. It's kind of difficult, but So basically, if you bought one Hondana and the 01, the one with the 01 book, you can. I don't know why you try to click it in if there's nothing for it to click in, because it literally just sits there. So you can, like, you know, what am I clicking it to? There's nothing for it to click. So you can have a display like this, which, yeah, this looks pretty good overall. However, obviously, the reason why you're going to get these is so then you can do something like this. Yeah, so in total, I got myself 6 of these things. Obviously, one from the initial set with the 01 book, and then 2, 4, 6, yeah, then like 5 more of these. No, 4 more, excluding the original version of the original set I got. Obviously, this one's empty because this is the one I use for my Legend Rider books, and I finally can actually store all my Legend Rider books in here, so 01 shouldn't be in this slot. But this is why they kind of like only advise you to stack 4, because, or like stack 2 sets of these per time, because obviously anything after it doesn't want to stay. And like you can connect more of these. Obviously I'm not going to, but like I think that's the more ideal collection you want to like do. Just have a full wall full of these, because I think that's probably the best. But for me, I primarily just wanted to have the base Wonder Combo books in the shelf, and then dedicate an entire Legend Rider shelf for these. And then, obviously, because I had an extra slot, I just threw in the 01 Rider sounds and such. Or the 01 Rider books alongside the 3 Wonder Combos and such. Obviously, it's up to you how you want to personalize your Hondanas and such. Yeah. Because the issue is that when it gets to like 4 or so, it really wants to start collapsing, especially because there's a lot of weight on the top, so like obviously, as you I guess see in several videos of just this thing collapsing sometimes, just because it cannot sustain the weight and such, especially because, which is why for the top of mine, obviously with all my Legend Rider ones, I have it in chronological order, and obviously because we will get to it later, obviously most of phase 1 are a lot lighter, so it shouldn't have that issue, but it still does. And like speaking of that, the thing is that for some reason, this middle slot is actually an issue, because you can tell some of these books are kind of like constantly like popping in or popping out. Like the Hiden Monogatari won't stay in for some reason, because it wants to constantly spring out. So like some of these books just don't even like, some of these ones specifically don't want to like stay pristine, and they just kind of want to stick out, which is kind of annoying. The DX books like kind of have the same issue too, but like, you know, they'll at least stay in there. I have all of mine with tabs, just because I keep my Wonder Ride books with tabs, and this is how I deal with the books that are supposed to be, or they're on the right. I simply put them in and then stick the tab in and such. And then for this, obviously, I have to put the tab in first and then slide that in and such. And make sure it climbs in, or it pins it, or it pegs in. And like, yeah, obviously having obviously having like a Hondana full of DX books, yeah, it's pretty weighty for sure. But this is how I really like. This is my definitive like collection of like core Wonder Ride books, despite the fact I don't have like the other riders and such. Obviously, because the whole point of this is supposed to be for the Legend Riders, which obviously, yeah, that's tall. But overall, my thoughts on the Hondanas, like, I really like the idea of them. It's really clever that it's a book gimmick. Of course, you should make bookshelves. It just works. Like, yeah, like you're gonna have the issue of like books not wanting to like completely be still and such, because I don't know, it's really weird. But and like obviously you have a limit of like how much you can stack, but overall, like, this is just one of the best like storage shelf pieces they've done in a while. I don't know what to, because these are basically storage units too, but like not like exactly. Excuse me, but like this just works. Like the fact that I feel like Saber was really the last series that had really solid holders, like the Hisatsu holder and the Ride Book Hondana. Because then like we get to Revice and it's just like, what are these things? Like the Vice Stamp bar was alright, but like it's not one that you want to go back and buy constantly because of the way they made it. That like you're just gonna be left with one piece every bar you make. So I'm just glad with how they did these. You know, you got the two, and then like, you know, just figure out how much you need, and then pick them out eventually. To which I would say, like, these, luckily for both of these sets, they are cheap. Like what I said, I think this one, I kind of changed. Alright, I'll change what I said with the 01 set. I think this one is a $15 because of the fact it does come with the Wonder Ride book. But these things themselves, just like the two, this is about like $10 to $12 at best. However, obviously because of the fact that people do want to buy these up, the individual sets are a lot more difficult to track down than like the set with the 01 book. To which, if you don't mind having a lot of repeats of 01, or if you can actually find people that only want the book, I'll say it's a good deal. Because again, it's not like Geo, where the core set actually came with more things than like the individual releases. As obviously, if you don't recall, the Daizas only came with the Daiza riser pieces. They didn't come with. They're not. It wasn't like the core set that came with the Ride Watch and the base. So, like with this set, you're just gonna be left with with extra abundance of 01 books. To which honestly, again, just give them out, sell them, do whatever. Like, and then you will still have like, you won't have anything left over. Like if you bought like the abundance of like the Ride Watch Daizas, or like of those sets, you're gonna be left with a bunch of Denos and bases. But here, not really like a bad deal, honestly. So, highly recommend picking the Hondanas up if you're a Wonder Ride book collector. and such, because you know they're a nice thing to put your Wonder Ride books in and such. Now, gotta start refilling this thing. But that'll have to do this review. This is Ryder, and I'll leave you people.